The Arizona sun was already ruthless by 9 a.m., climbing past 89 degrees and rising fast. Dust swirled over the skeletal outline of steel beams and newly poured concrete as Carmen Doyle stepped out of her trailer and adjusted her hard hat. The morning buzz of the construction site hummed with grit and order. At least it had until she saw him. He stood alone near the eastern scaffolding, tall, maybe late 40s, black, dressed in a plain navy hoodie and jeans that bore signs of honest labor. His boots were scuffed and broken in, not the kind you buy for style. He wasn't holding blueprints. He wasn't wearing a site badge or a vest. Carmen didn't recognize him, and she didn't like that. She stormed across the gravel, weaving through pallets, hoses, and a wheelbarrow stuck in a rut, until she stood nose to chest with the stranger. "Hey," she barked. "You lost." The man turned toward her, face unreadable. "Come." "No." Carmen crossed her arms. "Then what are you doing walking around my site like you belong here?" "Just observing." "Observing what?" she asked, voice sharp. "This isn't a damn sightseeing tour." "Process. Communication. Safety habits," he replied smoothly. There wasn't a trace of sarcasm in his Tonino defensiveness, no arrogance. That threw her more than if he'd shouted. "Well, unless you've got a hard hat and a damn good reason to be here, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." "I'm not in the way." "Doesn't matter," she snapped. "Who gave you clearance?" He gave a slow shrug. "No one. I walked in with the morning shift." "You just walked in?" Her voice rose an octave. "Do you have any idea what kind of liability nightmare that is?" "Jesus. What's your name?" "Dorian." "Dorian Wade." She didn't recognize it. Probably just another guy fishing for work or snooping on behalf of a competitor. It happened. People pretending to be curious while secretly snapping photos for rival bids. "Well, Dorian," she said, dragging out the name like it offended her, "you've got 30 seconds to head back to the gate before I call security." Still, he didn't move. Instead, his gaze drifted over her shoulder toward a group of welders near the lift controls. "You guys using the wrong torch head," he said calmly. "Could cause a compression split." Carmen blinked. "Excuse me." "He's using an H3-1-5. Should be a 43, too." Her eyes narrowed. "And how the hell would you know that?" He pulled a folded sheet of paper from his back pocket and handed it to her. "Site blueprints. Highlighted. Annotated. Her initials in the corner." She scanned it. It was their plan. Identical version. Same notations. "Where did you get this?" she demanded. Dorian offered a faint smile. "Same place you did." A long, awkward pause settled between them as a few nearby crew members stopped pretending not to listen. Ellis Brooke, the foreman, started walking toward them, then seemed to think better of it and turned back around. "Fine, Carmen Mateo. If you're going to wander around quoting spec sheets, at least throw on a vest so people don't think you're trespassing." "I'm not worried about what they think," he said evenly. "Well, you should be. This is a construction site, not a seminar." He looked at her then, like he found something mildly amusing. And without another word, he turned and headed toward the west side where the concrete crew was lining up forms. She watched him go. The way he moved bugged her, not sluggish or uncertain. The opposite. He walked like someone who didn't need to prove anything. Back in her trailer, she called the gatehouse. No sign-in under the name Dorian Wade. No delivery under that name. No issued safety badge. Nothing. Who the hell was this guy? She tried to shake it off and threw herself into the day. The heat climbed. The buzz of drills and hammering echoed across the site. But the image of that calm, unflinching man hovered at the back of her mind. An hour passed. She hadn't seen him since. That was fine by her, until she heard Troy, one of the junior plumbers, ask, "You the new inspector?" She turned and saw Dorian near the west trench, pointing something out to Troy, who was nodding like he was taking notes. Carmen stomped over. "Troy," she barked, "you're on the clock. Why are you standing around?" "I was just asking." "He's not your supervisor," she cut in, "and he's not clear to be talking about pump flow rates. Save the technical talk for someone with a license." Troy flushed, muttered an apology, and scrambled off. Carmen turned back to Dorian. "You just can't help yourself, can you?" I didn't tell him anything dangerous, Dorian replied. Just asked why the trench was angled against grade. She exhaled hard through her nose. I don't know who you think you are. I told you, he said. Dorian Wade. Oh, right. Blueprint whisperer. Job site philosopher. Look, we don't need advice from guys in hoodies. Then maybe ask yourself why I know more about your site than your junior engineers. The quiet steel in his voice made her flinch. Come with me, she snapped. She led him to the center of the site where several dozen workers were rotating shifts. Just the audience she wanted. She raised her voice. Everyone, this here's Dorian. He thinks he's got all the answers. A few of the guys looked up. Others exchanged glances but stayed silent. He's not cleared. He's not certified. He's not anything. Just a guy in boots with opinions. Dorian didn't flinch. You know what we do with people like that? She asked. Someone in the back muttered, Give him a vest. A few chuckles followed. Not many. We ignore them, she continued. Because people who build things don't need lectures. We need doers. Dorian glanced around the crowd, then said, I didn't come to show off. I came to see how people are treated when they don't wear name tags. That stopped the last few chuckles. Carmen's voice dropped. You done playing riddles? For now, he said. She spun on her heel and walked off, skin prickling with heat but not from the sun. Back in her trailer, she called Ellis again. Who is this guy? She demanded. Ellis looked uncomfortable. He walked in this morning. Thought maybe he was with corporate. Well, he's not. Find out who he is. And if he's still here in an hour without a title, it's on you. Ellis nodded and left. She tried to get back to work. Checked her emails. Searched the internal database. No hire under Dorian Wade. No badge issued. Nothing. She glanced at the site camera feed. There he was, again sitting on a stack of concrete, eating a sandwich, chatting with Jacob, one of the apprentices. Too casual. Too comfortable. Later, Ellis radioed in. No one's pushing, he said. People think he might be with upper management. Why? Carmen snapped. He notices things, like a safety auditor would. I haven't gotten any memo. No heads up. People are nervous. Tell your crew to stop speculating and focus. By mid-afternoon, the heat shimmered like glass. Tensions frayed. Carmen spotted a crewman grinding metal near a gas line. Cody, she shouted. You trying to get us all killed? Before she could grab the safety manual, Dorian's voice cut through the noise. You're focused on the wrong thing. She turned, furious. He pointed toward a junction box. Breaker's still live. That line should have been shut before anyone got near. You're just wandering now? I've been here all day. You've seen that. That doesn't mean you can intervene. Someone had to. Your foreman's rerouting a crane. Your assistant's on the phone with the city. I don't need a babysitter. No, he said. You need to see what everyone else already does. The calm in his voice hit her like a slap. You want to call people out? She challenged. Fina, walk the walk. What would you do differently? Without hesitation, quieter drills. Rotating site leads. Stop humiliating people when the cameras are off. Silence. Ellis arrived minutes later. Carmen, he said, loud enough for others to hear. There's a mandatory safety meeting at 3. I didn't schedule a meeting. It's not from you. He nodded toward Dorian. Carmen's heart thudded as she watched Dorian calmly walk toward the loading area. At 2:58, 3 sharp whistle blasts rang out. Every worker dropped tools. Moved to the meeting area. Dorian stepped to the front. My name is Dorian Wade, he said. I'm a new CEO of the Wade Keating Group. Silence. Then gasps. I've been with the company less than a month, he continued. I didn't want press releases or emails. I wanted to see the work and how people are treated when no one's looking. He turned slightly toward Carmen. What I saw was good work, but also a culture where authority's mistaken for leadership, where people are talked down to unless they wear the right badge. He looked directly at her. You have the credentials, but you've ignored the people beside you. Her throat tightened. As of today, he said, your employment is terminated. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't need to. Back in her trailer, Carmen sat in stunned silence. Not from anger, but from the realization that no one was surprised. The next day, it was everywhere. Not news stories, just whispers. A post. A photo. A caption. Respect isn't supposed to be conditional. Then came the stories. Interns, engineers, crew, leads, people shared moments where they were humiliated or ignored. Carmen's name came up. Again and again. Wade never commented publicly. He didn't need to. Weeks passed. Sites moved on. Jacob, now promoted, saw Wade again on another site. "You ever take a day off?" he joked. "Only when they stop letting you talk back." Wade smiled. They walked the site together. "You really think people change after something like that?" Jacob asked. "Some do," Wade said. "If they want to." He paused. "But the lesson doesn't live with the ones who leave. It lives with the crew, with the people still here." And the silence that followed said everything else.